Switzerland. President Trump is headed there, and tomorrow he will deliver his keynote address to the World Economic Forum. He's expected to outline America's economic and trade goals, and we expect him to focus on growth, affordability, because that's a hot point right now with the American people, tariffs, foreign policy, and technology and energy dominance. Here is President Trump.
Well, I think I have a lot of messages for Davos, but the primary message is how well the United States is doing. And I say it all the time. A year and a half ago, we were a dead country, and now we have the hottest country in the world. The message for Davos is how incredible our country is doing.
New from Politico, Trump makes Davos matter again. Here's part of it. President Trump may be at odds with the rules-based, consensus-led global leadership that World Economic Forum stalwarts espouse, but they owe him thanks this time. A record number of world leaders are attending only because he is. Energy Secretary Chris Wright is in focus from Davos. Great to have you today. Let's talk energy, as you and I are wont to do. What is the message from the president on that?
Oh, more energy. You know, the president's agenda, grow energy production in the United States and abroad that pushes down energy prices, and grow demand for American workers, and that pushes up wages. That's in a nutshell. That's the 2026 agenda.
And what would you say at this point is the reception for our country? Because one of the things, Secretary, that you and I have talked about, and thank you again for the 3 Mile Island visit, we got to see nuclear come back alive, and it will be in the next 15 to 18 months. What's the reception on the world stage as we become more energy independent? As we go on that march, we break away from having so much need around the world to perhaps being able to supply some of it.
Harrison, 12 months, President Trump has just changed the global energy discussion. Here I am at Davos. For years, you heard the top business leaders and politicians spouting climate change is the end of the world and we have to get rid of hydrocarbons and shrink energy consumption. I've not heard that message this year at all, and I haven't heard it in any of my travels. I think it's hard to push back against President Trump's agenda, that we got to focus on humans, affordability, jobs, and opportunity, and get off the sort of elite redesigning the world because they don't trust the rest of us to screw it up. So there's already a pivot. I've seen it across Europe. I've seen it across Asia. I saw it in my meetings earlier today. So the world is moving towards embracing affordable, reliable, secure energy and better job opportunities. The U.S. is leading the way, but I don't think we're going to be alone going that direction.
Well, a very interesting piece with all of this on Davos gathering. Many conversations will focus on competing visions for the new era of energy security. One critical question is how Trump will use the power he is accruing between the anticipated increase in drilling in Venezuela and what ExxonMobil has recently achieved in Guyana. One energy experts believe that could give Trump a lot of new leverage in dealing with Iran, Russia, or other adversaries. But it's far from clear if and how this leverage can be effectively utilized to achieve peace. What's your reaction to that?
Well, I think you've seen the huge leverage President Trump does have because of America's energy dominance. You know, we're just by far the world's biggest producer of oil and natural gas. And that's allowed some uncertainty in the Middle East to not disrupt the price of gasoline and home heating for Americans, and allowed the president to drive his agenda towards peace. Everyone was uncertain. What's he doing over there? He's going to stir up a rat's nest. Energy prices are going to skyrocket because that's what they always do. But that didn't happen. That didn't happen. Now we have a historic peace in the Middle East, and we've got freedom and liberty seekers on the move in Iran. I think most of the world is pretty heartened by the trajectory we're on.
You know, I'm curious because this isn't really what you inherited. And it's been relatively quickly. I mean, I had been saying before that the Biden administration was tapping the oil reserves like, a Super Bowl party with a keg. I mean, it was just, and we're not doing that anymore. What turned it around so quickly?
It's because not only has President Trump unleashed the American people and gotten regulations and the government out of the way of American businesses and entrepreneurs, that's grown production across the board. But it's also a message for all future companies that we're no more of this energy nonsense. companies that were going to build their factories in Asia, well, now they're going to build them in the United States. And as you see the huge reindustrialization in this country, and you will see a lot of shovels in the ground this year in 2026, that'll put upward pressure on wages for Americans, middle-class Americans, working-class Americans. You know, he's early on. He's only 1 year in, but you can feel the United States moving forward. And I think the positive impacts of that are going to be feel stronger and stronger as we go months into the future.
Really quickly, Greenland, is it being talked about where you are?
It is, you know, and it reminds me of people asking me about the Middle East 6 months ago. What's going on in the Middle East? This is going to blow up into a conflagration. And our belief then was President Trump's a good negotiator. I think he knows what he's doing, and we've gotten to a good place. Now, we're not done in the Middle East, but it's much better than it was before. Greenland's the same thing. We're early on in a negotiation, so there's some uncertainty and tension around that. I think we get to a great result here as well.
Secretary Wright, thank you. Joining us live from Davos, and Outnumbered is after the break.